What if I told you the key to understanding human resilience is hidden deep within the Amazon rainforest, buried not in its soil or trees, but in the DNA of its indigenous people? For thousands of years, these communities have thrived in one of the most unforgiving environments on Earth, enduring unimaginable challenges and preserving a way of life that's intrinsically tied to nature. Their DNA doesn't just tell a story of where they came from. It reveals how they survived. It's a story of adaptation, persistence, and triumph that echoes through generations. But how exactly does their genetic code uncover these secrets? Let's dive in to find out. More than 15,000 years ago, the first humans ventured across the Beringia land bridge, leaving behind their Eurasian homeland. Their journey wasn't easy. It was a leap into the unknown, driven by the promise of survival and a better future. These pioneers spread southward, eventually reaching the Amazon rainforest, where they adapted to a world unlike anything they had known. But life in the Amazon demanded creativity and resilience. Early Amazonian societies became master landscapers, reshaping their environment to thrive. They created nutrient-rich soils known as Amazonian dark earth, enabling them to grow crops in otherwise poor soil. They managed forests with controlled burns, developed intricate fisheries, and domesticated plant species. Every step of their innovation was a testament to their ingenuity. Then came the arrival of Europeans in the 1500s, bringing disease, enslavement, and forced relocations. Within just a few centuries, 95% of the Amazon's indigenous population was wiped out. But against all odds, these communities persevered. They carried their knowledge, traditions, and stories forward, ensuring that their legacy wasn't lost. Their DNA now stands as a living record of their resilience, a bridge connecting their ancient past to the present day. In recent years, breakthroughs in genetic research have opened a fascinating window into the origins of Amazonian peoples. Scientists have discovered something remarkable. The DNA of Amazonian tribes contains traces of a mysterious population called Population Y. This ancient group, with genetic ties to indigenous Australians and New Guineans, suggests that the first inhabitants of the Americas may not have arrived in a single wave, as previously thought. This Australasian genetic signal is most prominent in Amazonian groups like the Surue and Caritiana, hinting at a possible ancient migration route along the Pacific coast. It's a clue that challenges conventional theories about how humans first settled the Americas. Even more fascinating is the diversity within Amazonian populations. Variations in genetic signals between and even within tribes reflect a history of survival through adaptation. Over millennia, these communities faced environmental pressures, isolation, and cultural shifts, yet their genetic resilience has remained intact. Their DNA doesn't just map where they came from. It tells a story of how they endured. The Amazon rainforest isn't just a cradle of biodiversity. It's also home to some of the most genetically diverse human populations on the planet. This diversity has been a cornerstone of their survival. By analyzing mitochondrial DNA, scientists have found strong genetic connections between various Amazonian tribes, revealing a history of shared ancestry and collaboration. This genetic interconnection tells a story of resilience. For centuries, Amazonian communities adapted to the challenges of their environment, navigating dense forests, unpredictable rivers, and the spread of new diseases brought by outsiders. Even isolated tribes, shaped by genetic drift, hold unique patterns in their DNA that reflect their survival strategies. Each mutation, each inherited gene, is like a chapter in the story of these tribes. It shows how they withstood the harsh realities of their environment and how they built relationships with one another to preserve their existence. Through their DNA, we see a portrait of unity and strength, woven across thousands of years. In Amazonian cultures, survival is more than just physical, it's deeply spiritual. For generations, shamans have been the keepers of this wisdom, using their profound knowledge of plants to heal, connect with the spirit world, and sustain their communities. Their traditions, passed down through time, are a testament to the intricate bond between the people and their environment. But what's remarkable is how this cultural wisdom complements their genetic resilience. The same plants that shamans use for healing have contributed to modern medicine. For example, some Amazonian tribes use over 50 plant species to combat malaria, plants that have shaped their survival and adaptation over centuries. This fusion of cultural practices and genetic strength highlights how deeply intertwined their way of life is with the rainforest itself. Every ritual, every cure, every connection to nature is a thread in the fabric of their resilience. The shamans don't just see plants, they see life, healing, and continuity, carrying their communities forward against all odds. The arrival of European colonizers in the Amazon brought devastation on an unimaginable scale. Entire communities were uprooted through forced relocations to missionary reductions, where indigenous people were stripped of their land, culture, and autonomy. European diseases, to which the indigenous populations had no immunity, swept through the region, reducing the population by nearly 95%. Yet, even in the face of such destruction, Amazonian tribes endured. Groups like the Takanan and Panoan-speaking peoples adapted to survive, forming alliances and maintaining their unique traditions. Genetic studies reveal traces of these struggles in their DNA, showing how their ancestors mixed, migrated, and preserved their identities despite immense challenges. Their resilience isn't just genetic, it's cultural. These communities found ways to protect their traditions, languages, and spiritual practices, even while navigating a drastically altered world. Their story is one of persistence, a reminder that even under the weight of colonization, the spirit of these tribes refused to be broken. Today, the descendants of Amazonian tribes continue to embody resilience. Across the Amazon basin, indigenous managed lands serve as sanctuaries for both their people and the rainforest itself. Studies show that these lands often harbor as much biodiversity, if not more, than formerly protected areas, a testament to their sustainable practices and deep connection to nature. But the challenges are far from over. Deforestation, illegal mining, and encroachment threaten both their land and their way of life. Tragically, indigenous defenders who stand up to protect their territory often face violence. The Amazon remains one of the deadliest places in the world for environmental activists, with indigenous leaders making up a disproportionate number of those lost. Yet, even in the face of such adversity, these communities persist. They blend traditional knowledge with modern tools, advocating for their rights on global platforms, demarcating their lands, and creating solutions that bridge ancient wisdom and contemporary innovation. Their fight isn't just for survival, it's for the preservation of a legacy that belongs to all of humanity. The story of Amazonian tribes is more than a tale of survival. It's a testament to the enduring strength of the human spirit. Their DNA carries the legacy of their ancestors, who braved uncharted territories, adapted to unforgiving landscapes, and stood resilient in the face of immense challenges. But their resilience isn't just about the past, it's alive today in their traditions, their fight to protect their land, and their contributions to preserving the rainforest, one of the planet's most vital ecosystems. By safeguarding their rights and their heritage, we're not just protecting a culture, we're ensuring a future for humanity. Their DNA tells us something extraordinary. Resilience is in our nature, and from it, we can all draw strength. So, the next time you think of the Amazon, don't just think of its trees or rivers. Think of its people, the carriers of stories that connect us to our shared past and inspire us to shape a better future.